They're weird and obscure, but that doesn't mean they aren't great. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Japanese games you've never heard of. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at some of the most obscure Japanese video games that have not really caught on in the West. Number 10, 3 Wonders. There aren't many game companies that would assemble 3 unique games into one single package. However, that's just what Capcom did with 3 Wonders. Midnight Wanderers was a platform run-and-gun game with challenging gameplay, a colorful world filled with bizarre creatures, and a wonderful art style. Chariot Adventure Through the Sky was a shoot-'em-up featuring characters from Midnight Warriors. And lastly, Don't Pull was a simple but fun puzzle game with adorable characters. All 3 were relatively short, but their visuals and design kept audiences coming back for another round. Number 9, Lucky and Wild. If you have an extensive knowledge of classic arcade games, you may have actually heard of this one. Lucky and Wild is an asymmetric co-op game where one player drives a car while a buddy shoots enemies on the road ahead. Later levels would introduce time bombs that would stick to your car, or the mechanic of having to shoot grenades before they reach ya. This was practically you and your friend getting your own cop show, so it was pretty cool. Sadly, the game was never released outside of Japan. What's worse is that there really hasn't been a sequel, spin-off, or even a remake. Number 8, Segagaga. Segagaga is a turn-based RPG where the player is a newly created developer for Sega and must defend the company from a hostile takeover by Sony. Dogma. To do this, the player has to battle different developers via insults that will lower their will and self-esteem in order to recruit and build Sega into a worthy competitor. Oh, and you're under a time limit to do all of this. While the gameplay is fun and the narrative's pretty funny, the real reason to play the game is for all the Easter eggs and references, right? Number 7, Captain Rainbow. Nintendo has created some pretty bizarre games, but they bring a certain style to their goofiness and wacky art. This obscure Wii gem tells the story of a man who can transform into the popular superhero, Captain Rainbow. When his TV show drops in the ratings, he travels to a mysterious island that grants wishes. In the way that it teeters between intense minigames and casual activities like boxing and fishing, Captain Rainbow actually pokes a little fun at Nintendo's own characters. For example, Birdo is shown as short-tempered and wishes to become beautiful, and Little Mac, well, he's seen better days. If you're looking for something to tickle your funny bone, you really can't go wrong with Captain Rainbow, if you could find it. Number 6, The Firemen. After a Christmas party at a chemical plant goes haywire, Pete and Daniel must navigate through the facility to save all of the civilians therein. The fireman manages to actually get pretty creative with the concept of being a firefighter without getting too far-fetched. Between switching nozzles and spraying every flame, you have to keep an eye on your life gauge, heat resistance, and the timer. This keeps the game challenging and demands the player be sure they've covered all fires before leaving rooms. Then you also have boss fights that all require different methods to extinguish the fires. It's a little-known SNES gem that never really saw release outside of Japan, yet still earned a good sequel. Number 5, Tingle's Balloon Fight DS. Remember the good old days of Nintendo Club? It was truly a special experience when you finally earned enough coins to redeem that exclusive game. North America had some pretty good offers like Doc Louie's Punch-Out and a few virtual console titles, but Japan had their fair share of gems as well. Tingle's Balloon Fight might sound like an odd choice. It's Zelda's Tingle in a Balloon Fight remake, but this was still a solid game. The updated visuals were charming, the sound design is excellent, and the gameplay is just as addictive as on the original NES. They even still have the dreaded stinger play when the fish shows up. Ooh, memories. Number 4, Incredible Crisis. What else are you supposed to do when you forget Grandma's birthday? Live a normal life? Pfft, yeah, right. This PS1 title is essentially a collection of minigames with a narrative, but its wild and chaotic tone is what makes it stand out. As you follow family members as they try to find presents for Grandma, you'll be tested through a variety of games that require button mashing, avoiding oncoming traffic, answering trivia questions, and being part of a bank heist. Wait a second, what was that last one? Incredible Crisis is a totally crazy ride, but it's a totally crazy ride you won't regret playing. Number 3, Toilet Kids. What are we even looking at? Well, apparently this is a top-down shooter about a kid who flushes himself down a toilet and enters a mysterious world made of poo. Gosh, why haven't we heard about this one before? Anyway, it's pretty easy to let the toilet humor steer you away, but it's actually a surprisingly okay game. While it's got the different ways you can screen wipe enemies, it's rare to see a game with visuals and humor quite like this. What other game has poo projectiles as a hazard? Okay, well, aside from Conker's Bad Fur Day. Yeah, we know about that one. Number 2, Samurai Pizza Cats. When the game based on your show is being handled by Tecmo, you know things are in pretty good shape. Based on the anime series of the same name, Samurai Pizza Cats is a 2D platformer that grants the player the ability to play as one of the 3 cats, each having their own set of unique powers. On top of that, you can switch to a different cat at almost any time. Then you got cutscenes, which were notably impressive for a game of this era. It's almost like you're watching an 8-bit version of the show. Whether you're a fan of this old cartoon or just like cats that are pizza delivering samurai, and why wouldn't you? This one was not a letdown if you got to try it. Number 1, Metal Wolf Chaos. If you're looking for a game that's a little more patriotic, then Metal Wolf Chaos is probably right up your alley. This game is about as overly American and jingoistic as Broforce with hardly any of the self-awareness. As the 47th President of the United States, you pilot a mech suit that's equipped with an absurd amount of weaponry. Metal Wolf Chaos is basically exactly what you'd expect. It's got over-the-top action, it's got cringe-inducing voice acting, and it features a hell of a soundtrack.
Please give your guests some FaceTime with the Commander-in-Chief.
One thing that upsets us is that it was only released in Japan as an Xbox exclusive. But wait, did we mention that it was developed by From Software? Yeah, that From Software. So, after Dark Souls, can we get a remaster of this? Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.